This is the Kitchen Sink WP Podcast, episode 615.
I program my home computer.
We have a server crash, 404 error, page not found, links aren't working, system is crashing, system is crashing, system is crashing.
Your old HTML website, barely alive. We have the technology. We have WordPress. A new website, better than it was before. Better, stronger, faster. Why? Hello, everybody. This is Adam Silver, the host of the Kitchen Sink WP podcast. Thanks for being here. Let's get started. All right, upcoming events. We have a few things next weekend. We have WordPress Day, Cybersecurity in Granada, 2025, December 12th. That's interesting. There's WordCamp Bangkok, December 13th and 14th. And there's also WordPress Campus Connect in Kaliro, December 12th and 13th. That, by the way, is Kaliro is a town in the eastern region of Uganda. Did not know that. Had to look that up. Thought maybe I'd share that with you as well. So if you're in those parts of the world, by all means, as I always say, you should go, participate, be part of an amazing community. I won't be there. I will be on the western part of North Carolina running my last event of the year. It's a little short thing, just 13.1, but a chunk of elevation, like 2,500 feet. Anyway, so there's that. All right, moving on, segment one. In the news, two things to talk about here. State of the Word is on YouTube now. That happened last week, where Matt Mullenweg does what's going on in WordPress. Check it out online. I've yet to watch it, to be honest. I need to. Heard there were some technical glitches, but I think the YouTube video is probably fine by now. Oh, there's three things, actually. So that's first and foremost. Second is WordPress 6.9. It did come out last week, as expected. It is called Gene. The codename was Gene, because every version of WordPress has a named after an artist who makes an indelible mark on the world of music. Gene is after Gene Harris, a jazz pianist, piano veteran, self-taught by the age of 6, etc. So check that out, WordPress 6.9. Of course, before you update, you're going to want to make sure you have a good solid backup test on staging, not on a live site. I've heard there's a handful of things that did break in certain instances with certain plugins. So just make sure you check all that out first. All right. And lastly in the news, not sure it's quite newsworthy yet, but I want to give out a shout out to my friend Marcus Burnett. He vibe coded yet another plugin. This one, I don't know the name of it yet. It's still under review. It allows for multiple email addresses to be associated with a single user account, which is pretty cool. I think that's actually really neat. So, for example, Adam at runadam.run can be connected also hello@runadam.run, could both be used to log into the same user account. So, brilliant idea, honestly. I'm kind of bummed I didn't think about it. So, congrats to you, Marcus. Looking forward to testing it out when it comes out. So that is it in the news. Moving on to this week's meat and potatoes. First, a word from this week's sponsor. This week's sponsor is WordPress.com and their business hosting plan. If you build websites for yourself or for clients, this is one of the strongest all-in-one setups you can get. Let's start with performance, because this thing moves. Your site is going to run on high-frequency CPUs that are tuned specifically for WordPress and WooCommerce, so page loads feel snappy even on busy days. Images get handled smartly, they generate thumbnails on the fly, and offload unused versions to the cloud, which saves space without slowing anything down. And if you ever get a traffic spike, the platform automatically scales up to more than 100 PHP workers, so your site just keeps cruising along. All this sits on top of a global CDN with data centers across 6 continents, which means your visitors get your content from the location closest to them. Now, reliability. You get unmetered traffic and uptime at 99.99999%, which is about as close to never going down as it gets. Your entire site is backed up in real time, and restoring a file is literally a single click. Plus, every WordPress.com site is instantly mirrored to a second data center in another region. If one has an issue, the other one takes over. And when you do need help, their support team is available around the clock. For the builders out there, this plan gives you full access to plugins, themes, and custom code. Use SSH, WP CLI, or GitHub deployments if that is part of your workflow. Test updates safely on the staging site, and take advantage of the advanced Jetpack features that millions of users rely on. And of course, security is fully handled. You get protection against DDoS attacks and malicious traffic, automated malware scans with one-click fixes, a real-time activity log, and free SSL for every domain. On top of that, you get unlimited pages, posts, and users, a custom domain for your first year, premium themes, video uploads, analytics, and the ability to customize every part of your site. If you want a hosting plan that removes the headache and lets you build with confidence, check them out. WordPress.com business plan. Thanks again for sponsoring this week's episode. And we're back now for segment 2, the meat potatoes of this week's episode. It's been 8 weeks, so it's time for a listener Q&A. I have like 8 questions this time, which is awesome. A lot of people sent things in over the last 8 weeks, which is great. First question here by Lana. How do you stay organized between the new gig, client work, podcasting, running, and everything else you do? Oh, nice question. Appreciate the call outs to those things. So I use a simple mix of basic tools that help keep me pretty much sane. Calendar is number one. I use, OS 10 Mac OS calendar primarily as an interface, but I use Google Calendar for the family, for work, all my stuff's there. I do use Obsidian. I'm learning more about Obsidian, as I've mentioned in the past. I use OmniFocus for my own personal stuff. We are over on Asana for client projects on concierge parts of things. So I treat projects like my long runs. I break them into manageable chunks. I keep moving them forward. I try to avoid tiny distractions, but part of my job is that because I'm testing things out for you all, but I'm trying to figure out some new stuff for the new gig as well. Over there, we use HubSpot and ClickUp. So I'm also testing ClickUp as well, learning that as well. So also, obviously, as you can tell, my voice, coffee, lots and lots of coffee. All right. Moving on, question 2, this one from Christina. If someone wants to start a podcast like KitchensinkWP, what's the one thing they should focus on first? Ooh, I do get this question a lot, Christina, about podcasting in general. And I often tell people, sit down, take out a sheet of paper or your laptop and write out the general topic or subject you're going to talk about. Let's say WordPress, or let's say running, or finances, right? And then write out 26 different ideas within that subject, 26 specifically. If you can do that, then you have a show every 2 weeks. That's a year, right? If you can't, then maybe pick something else out there that you can come up with 26 topics, because you don't want to have to pressure yourself into doing a weekly episode if you don't want that pressure. From there, of course, I also suggest a format because people like structure. Mine has had that since day one. Upcoming events, in the news, meat potatoes, tip and tool of the week, right? Though it's how I think, for me, that works for this show. Not for every type of podcast, but I think a structure works like that. And lastly, consistency. Yes, obviously good audio helps depending on the subject matter. Clever editing could help with sound effects, but showing up week after week builds trust with the audience. I released episodes through many different jobs, things going on in my day-to-day, races, family chaos, all the things. The habit matters more than the hardware, getting into the focus of getting it done. Also, don't overthink the name of the podcast because, you might anyways, but don't do it. If you can, just pick a name and go for it. Okay, I hope that helps. Moving on, question 3. What's the number one mistake WordPress users make? So this is by David. I think I know this David. A lot of Davids out there. So I would say installing 20, 25 plugins from day one because someone on a Facebook group said that they were all must-haves is a mistake. I always recommend keep it simple. Start with the basics, learn how the dashboard works, then add the things you actually need. Think of plugins like a kitchen gadget. You don't need a banana slicer. You just need a good knife. So there you go. Another question here, another beginner question. This is a category. It's kind of weird how it came in. This is by Andre. How often should I update WordPress plugins and themes, or WordPress core plugins and themes? Good question, Andre. I would say regularly, as in weekly if you can. Updates are not scary, hiding under your bed, and not a creature, right? They're there for security, stability, and new features. Of course, I always say this, make a backup first, then click update. If something breaks, take a breath. And that's why you have the backup, right? Also, if you're not backing up, we need to have a talk separately. I have concerns there for you. And these days, many hosts have staging servers. So you can push a current copy to that staging server first, run the updates, test, and then deploy. Okay, you can actually do that in a few clicks. You can deploy these changes, or you can go back to the main server, the primary production server, and just update again. So it just depends on the site. If it's news versus e-commerce, it kind of depends how you want to do that. So I also recommend, by the way, testing the backups, because that process you got to know how that process works. I recently had an incident last month where I needed the backup. I brought the backup into my local by Flywheel instance, and it worked fine. It was good to know that I can do it. So I could take it from both Blog Vault and I could take it from the server for my host. I tested both of them. And once I had it in local, I knew if I needed to, I could re-push up the entire website back to a new server. So test that process too. Okay. Question 5. This one is by Anonymous because I don't have a name on it. How do I know when it's time to switch from a page builder to the block editor or vice versa? Well, I would say my answer is going to be a little biased. Well, not really. I would say use the tool that fits the way you think. If the block editor sparks joy, great. If Beaver Builder or Elementor or any other page builder you like gives you a more efficient workflow, also great. There's no prize for using the one that somebody on Twitter is yelling about. Choose a setup that helps you ship. Simple as that. Full stop. I'm going to move on to the next question. Okay. Next question is by Chuck. What is the best way to improve my site speed without spending hours on optimization? Oh, good question. Easy answer, I think, in three steps. The holy trinity, if you will. Hosting, caching, and image compression. Those three will get you 80% of the way there. Choose solid hosting, get a caching plugin, a good one. Stop uploading 3 megabyte photos of your dog. So it's that simple. From there, you can do some other things, of course, but your Lighthouse score, your GT metrics will be much better with those three things in place. The holy trinity really of that. Okay. Number 7, question 7, this one also no name. How do you keep client projects organized without drowning in tools? Interesting. Well, I use a couple different things. Depends on what the client is, myself or the data gig. Project tracking, clear communication, documented process. Really simple again, like the holy trinity once again. You don't need 6 or 7, 8 overlapping apps. You need one place for tasks, one place for communication, and the routine, the process is key, but everyone follows. You want to set expectations early, write things down, follow your own playbook, and the future you will be very grateful. I mean, again, I mentioned before, we use Asana for concierge. We use ClickUp at web dev. I use OmniFocus for my own stuff. And I use, help desk software. I'm using Zoho for my help desk. I don't use a CRM anymore at the moment because I don't really need it. But yeah, just simple. Keep it really simple to start. Okay. And the last question of the day is by, who's this by? I don't know who this is. It says Monday. I don't know why it says Monday. Anyway, what advice would you give someone who wants to start a WordPress agency today? Ooh, okay. Good question. I would say pick a niche, keep your processes tight, and don't try to be everything to everyone. You want to offer clear packages. You want to set some solid boundaries, price your work like you plan to stay in business. I think that's it's important, because we sometimes undervalue our skills and knowledge. And then lead with value, not volume. At the end of the day, clients don't want to wake up thinking about their website or WordPress. They want to wake up thinking about their business, because that's really what matters to them. You want to translate the tech into outcomes that will make you stand out. Okay. So I hope that helps. That question. I don't know who said it Monday. They wrote their name was Monday. Okay. Fantastic. Hi, Monday. Okay. So that's it for this week's Q&A answers for that last 8 weeks. Moving on, segment 3, tip and tool of the week. This week's tip, it's a website called sendomatic.net. It's a transactional email service per their messaging. It's low cost, pay as you go. For emails for teams and developers, 0.088 cents per 1,000 emails. I found this from a referral. I think I saw something online because I was testing something for a client where they needed some transactional email services set up, and they didn't want to use, you can't use Gmail much anymore for this kind of stuff. You need to have a service to do this for you. So sendomatic.net, SENDAMATIC. I'm checking it out. I'm testing it a little bit for myself as well for this client of mine. Anyway, I'm not connected to them. Just want to share with you. It looks interesting, looks pretty basic, but functional and affordable. There you go. All right. So if you have any questions, go ahead, send it in via email for the next 8 weeks. Adam@KitchensinkWP, or use the SpeakPipe function on the website. If you want to support the show, you can do that. Become a Patreon, kitchensinkwp.com/Patreon, or you can sponsor the show, which would be great, like WordPress.com did through their business hosting plan. There's a form on the website. Fill that out. I'll get right back to you. You can also buy me a coffee. And other than that, thanks for listening. See you next week. Now go out and do some awesome things with WordPress. All right? Bye-bye.